Hey, this is John Fernay, the co-host of the Maryland Crabs, and I am here today with a Maryland Crabcake for your listening pleasure. What's a crab cake? It's not quite a full episode, it's just a little snippet. Stay tuned and check it out. And make sure you check us out on themarylandcrabs.com. You can follow us on Twitter at MD Crabs Podcast or find us on Facebook at the Maryland Crabs Podcast. And don't forget, subscribe, rate us, iTunes. Go there now. We're down here at City Dock Coffee again over in Arnold, as you can hear in the background, and we're with Brendan Curley, who is putting on something I'm really excited about this year. It is the first, I guess you can't say it's the first annual, you got to say it's the inaugural Maryland Latina Fest, which is coming up on July 21st up at the Anne Arundel County Fairgrounds. How are you today?
Good, John. Thanks for having me. Always good to see you, and it's great to be here. As you started to talk, they started pounding back there, so our typical background.
That's the way it works. Now, just a minute, they'll get the espresso machine going, and we'll know things are right in the world. Now, you're with ABC Events, and you guys put on all the great events. You just coming off of the Bay Bridge Paddle.
Yep.
You've been putting on the Maryland Seafood Festival for you personally for nearly 15 years, but that's been around for, I think, 3,000. I think dinosaurs were there.
That's right. This will be the 53rd for the Seafood Festival this year.
That's crazy.
But I'll tell you, with the Latin Fest, so, as far as the ABC goes, like I'm a small part of the machine. We have a lot of really good people that have been with us a long time, and it's a great group to work with. We get to give a lot back to the community. And, excited to expand this year to the Maryland Latin Fiesta. And then what's interesting is I think with my Irish heritage, I thought, why not? Here's the but seriously, we did a lot of research into this space, and we had for many years, the barbecue that we did for the Rotary, and that we just couldn't figure that out. And we felt like we had a good niche. We loved the fairgrounds, and that we had some folks that were interested in exploring the cultural aspects of the Latin folks, and to see where that would take us. And so that was really the genesis. We've been thinking about it for a year or so. Finally, it's going to come to fruition next month.
And I always get this wrong, but whether you want to call it the Latin culture or the Hispanic culture, the way it has boomed in this area has been incredible. I mean, we have, and just in terms of food in Anne Arundel, Annapolis area, we've just had so many great choices for Latin food. And you don't realize all of the little idiosyncrasies between, I can sit there and blankly say, oh yeah, it's Mexican food.
Right.
But that's not correct, because you've got Salvadoran, you've got Guatemalan, you've got Peruvian,
Colombian,
you've got everything else, which is kind of neat. So I'm really excited to see this. And you can't ignore that the Latin culture has become a part of our culture. It's that whole melting pot of America. And the population is growing, and it's just been, I think it's a wonderful addition to the festival scene. And as I've said, I think, and you do a great job of it, but some of these festivals, if they get too stale, they need to be changed up a little bit. And I think you've done that. You've shaken it up with the Wing Festival, which is going now on the 7th.
Be next year will be the big number 5.
That was something new. We never had that there, and it's been very successful. You look at the Bay Bridge Paddle, which has grown every year. The Seafood Festival is sort of its own little bear, I think, because it's sort of like the old uncle that's been there forever. But
well, I'll tell you, though, we pride on that part with the Seafood Festival is the group really looks every year to add 5 or 6 new things, and then keep what really works, like the crab soup cook-off, and keep the music. Like we had great success with the second stage last year. We're going to keep that coming. We're going to expand the kids area. So every year there's new things to think about. But going back to what you said about the Latin Fest is that, it to me was interesting, John, and you hit on it, is there's not just one Latin culture. There's so many cultures within that framework, if you will. And so trying to understand that, and believe me, I don't feel like I know it 100%, but learning as we go to get a better sense of that. It's been a great, really truly a great learning experience for our group to understand better about what's important to those cultures. So we're trying to build that, and the things that just keep coming back and hitting us over the head are really the focus on the music and the variances in the music, so that we are hitting on different groups. So I learned about I wrote it down, like a bachata, which is more of a Dominican type music, and so we're going to have a band that does a little bit of that. We're going to do some typical salsa.
Are you talking about the dance or the food?
This is all the music, actually.
Okay.
This is all the music. So like
salsa.
different. Yeah. So like, but and you're right. We're going to do a salsa piece. But what's cool about it is that, when you just think of it on the surface, it can be a blunt instrument. But when you drill in, there's so many interesting facets to the different cultures that make up our Latin community. And we're going to try to build that. And this year will be our starting point, and we're going to get better, and we'll get better over time. And but we're committed to it, and I feel like we've gotten some great sponsorship that and support from the community. Like Buck Distributing's been with us for a long time.
Buck is great. They're sponsoring things left and right. I mean, they just came off of the Eastport and Rock, and they've any number of festivals. They're right there. They're bringing it.
And they have the beer Soul. So that will it'll be a primary focus for us for the Latin Fest. So they do have such a rich group of brands that there's something really for everybody. But that'll be a highlight for us at the Latin Fest. And I think with McDonald's is going to join us, and then we have some that'll just join us for all year with Massanutten and with Geico and some others that want to be a part of the event scene and explore this culture as well. So the more people we've talked to about it, and I shouldn't take any credit. I have a great group of people that I get to work with on this as really a thing of passion. But it's really been overwhelming, the support, and people saying, "Hey, we should do this. We should get behind this." And it's important for people to understand the cultures that are blending together.
Well, I think it is. Well, what can we expect? I mean, obviously, with all of your festivals, you've got music, you've got food, you've got drink. At the fairgrounds, it's obviously free parking. And they're always affordable, and they're always family-friendly, with the exception of the Bay Bridge paddle. You can't take your family out on a stand-up paddleboard.
Those guys are really intense, too, in terms of physically. That's a different animal, the Bay Bridge paddle. We love doing that for that reason. It's unique in its own right. But I think with the Latin Fest, what's going to be interesting is probably some of the nuances are really the focus on dance and the rich the dance history in the culture. So we have one stage that's really dedicated to just dance. So not only showing, but demonstration where you can try and engage. We're going to do a flash mob, which we're excited about. That'll have some Latin, some Latin moves to it. It'll be relatively simple, but I think it'll be cool to explore. So that'll be probably the biggest nuance, I think, John, that what we've done in the past is real traditional music, where this will be a broad variety of music, then accompanied on the second stage with some interesting dance.
Well, where are you getting? I mean, the music. I mean, I don't hear a lot of Latin bands playing around town. I mean, have you got some Latin bands?
Yes, we have two that we've signed up for already. One is it's called Swing Combo, which is more like a salsa, but they're pretty diverse. And then we have La Firma out of New Jersey that is coming down. They're like an 8-person band. Like both bands have a ton of people in them, lots of music and lots of instruments and instrumentals. So I think the other thing we were looking for was to have diversity in the music, because we didn't just want one brand. We wanted it to, we don't want to be one size fits all. We're not saying that, but we wanted to have some diversity in the music. So we're looking for bands that could really have a broader spectrum of taste.
Food?
Yeah, we have a bunch of folks signed up to come. Obviously, Latin Fair, but the Paladar is coming, which is exciting. They're going to showcase some of their stuff. Yeah, they're good people, and they're expanding, and they have some really interesting ideas for food. I do want to make it Jamaican Kitchen, and then La Authentica is coming, which we're excited about, with some different variances around some typical stuff like you think of like a taco or spicy foods.
Right.
But they're bringing a whole bunch of diversity to that, trying to establish some things with Maryland as well. So what can they do with crab that would incorporate into that? So some interesting food options as well. It's on a Sunday. I think that was the other thing that was interesting for us. The more research we did around it is that people felt like Sunday's a family day for the Latin culture, and it is for most cultures, or a lot of cultures as well. But for the Latin culture, they take that it's a sanctity event where you want to be with the family, and we wanted to build something for that and put it on a day that made sense. So
that's a lesson learned from an Irish guy.
That's right, because we focus on a lot of the other stuff that happens in the area is you want to do it on a Saturday night, so people have the full weekend to relax and if they want to have some fun. So this makes sense, and we're going to try it and see how it goes.
Now, I know that all the festivals do have a shopping component to it, as far as the vendors that will line, and they're obviously part of the success of this. Now, are you planning on the vendor lineup? Is that going to be again culturally based, or is that
It'll be a mix, John. That's
Okay.
not as been. There certainly will be several that have a Latin flair to them, if you will. But it'll be a lot of traditional as well. And I shouldn't say a lot. It'll be a good mix. Is the best way to say that. I think of we have some folks, as I mentioned, that will have some booth space that support everything we do. But then we try into each event make them special. So if you think of just like arts and crafts folks that are engaged in that cultural aspect.
As with all of your festivals, they're very affordable. They're very inexpensive, I would say. $12 is your admission. That does cover all of your entertainment and admission and access to all of the demonstrations and the flash mobs and the food and the music and everything else as well. You can get a military discount. And that's a $7 discount, I believe I saw on the website, right?
Yep, absolutely. We always try to do something for that, and I'm sure we have a break on there for first responders as well. And that I know there's a special running right now. As a first-time event, we're going to build it out, and we're going to learn a lot this year as a team, and then see where that goes. So I think that this is really the beginning, the ground floor. So love the feedback if you're seeing things or things we could be doing better. But there's all sorts of discounts going on right now for this first one.
I did get my email yesterday, and for those that are listening, you can use ABC50 when you're checking out, and that'll give you a 50% discount, so you can get them for $6. But that's only good through the end of June, so that's only good through June 30th of 2019. And I do recommend everybody get tickets in advance. It certainly helps you guys plan, I'm sure, when you can sit there and see roughly how many people you've got and whether you need to, what was the great line from Jaws, we need a bigger boat or,
that's right.
or something.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to run out of anything, and you want to have a good experience and match the infrastructure to the crowd. As you know, a few years ago, we had a challenge with the wings where it was oversold. And I don't know if you saw this year, but we're never going to let that happen again. We stopped attendance. We had the mechanisms in place to have that work, and we had extra wings on site so that nobody ran out. So we try not to make the same mistake twice. But at these, when you're building them, it's hard to know, and a lot of it's weather driven, as we all know. And I know these, especially first time events, that they're sometimes last minute. But to your point, I appreciate that. Anybody that can give us a heads up that you're coming and buy some tickets in advance would be great.
How did this whole process work as far as organizing this? I mean, it seems like you've crossed all your T's and dotted all of your I's with, okay, we moved it to Sunday because that's the cult based on the culture and everything else. I mean, who all was involved in helping you, design this?
Well, I tell you, we did a lot of research, and I don't want to take credit for it because it was really done by my wife and a series of other folks that we work with, like Daryl Cook and Hillary Tall and a few others that do the work, and that. But they did a great job and went down. We went to the county first and got some great recommendations of folks to talk to in the space. And they were super supportive of us to try to do this. They felt it made sense. And then we took it upon ourselves and went down to visit a lot of the embassies down in D.C.
Okay.
So we went to the Colombian embassy. We went to the Peruvian embassy. We went and said, what do you have culturally that you think would be interesting? Is there bands that you'd recommend? Are there dance acts that you'd recommend? So we tried to get a good sense of it broadly and then focus on a few things that we thought we could execute in year one. And so I felt like we did that research, and the more people we talked to, the more excited we got about the idea, because there seemed to be, there's a lot of small ones, but with this potential, we think it could really be something interesting.
Well, I know that the city of Annapolis put on and I will, because I totally do not have a good Spanish accent, but they've put on several smaller Latin festivals. And they've been, as you mentioned, smaller, but they've been very, very successful. The community embraces it, and I would say that is the Latino community as well as the non-Latino community. Certainly, I think the plethora of Latin-styled restaurants that we're seeing in the area, and they keep growing, there's more and more that, there's definitely a thirst for this. And I think this is a great way to sort of scratch that itch on the 21st of July. And again, that's Sunday. This was originally planned for the 20th, but it was slid to the 21st because it needed to be.
Yeah, I think so. And as I mentioned, we'll learn and see how it goes, because I think the other thing we're excited about is the idea of connecting cultures. So if you think of as we've joked about, I'm Irish in background, but I want my kids to come. I want them to learn. I want them to be exposed, and I want them to see the richness of others around them. And so for this to be successful, it can't just be a grassroots Latin cultural event where it's strictly Latin folks attending. It's got to be a mix, and I feel like that's where we're able to make it really special.
Well, that's how the world goes around, and Brendan, Curley, and ABC Events are doing their little part to do it here in Anne Arundel County.
Well, hopefully it'll be fun, and look forward to seeing you out. And again, appreciate all the support you given us over the years, and looking forward to the event on the July 21st.
Absolutely. Well, you can get your tickets at abceventsinc.com, and that's INC. This is July 21st. It's Sunday. It'll be a beautiful day. I checked with the weather people, and they're calling for outstanding weather from 7 a.m. Nope. Not from 7 a.m. From 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to give you a heart attack there.
I was going to say, that's going to be really early for us.
And you also want to keep in mind another one of their great events is the Maryland Seafood Festival, which is going to roll around first weekend after Labor Day. And this year, that's going to be September 7th and 8th over at Sandy Point State Park. And I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit later about the surprises that you might have in store for the 53rd. I can't believe it's that old.
I know it.
Anniversary of that. If you're looking to go to the Maryland Fiesta Latina, you can get your tickets for half price by using ABC50 when you check out. And that's only good through the end of this month. Did we miss anything, Brendan Curley? I don't know.
I don't think so. I, again, appreciate the time very much, and hopefully we'll see you out there on the 21st.
Absolutely.
This has been the Maryland Crabs podcast with Tim Hamilton and John Fernay. Sure to follow them in all the regular places, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and online at themarylandcrabs.com. Take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Now, get the hell out of my kitchen. Seriously, go!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.